Hey guys, thanks for tuning us in for this 34th episode of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. Special guests for this episode include Judge Jeanine Pirro. Also from Bill Jack Products, we'll have Kim Gaebelein. And we'll also have actor and creator of The Cheaters, Tommy Habeeb, will be a special guest wrapping up the show. If you would, please take the time to subscribe, drop a like, comment, leave some feedback, and share with your friends. And we do want to thank our sponsor for today's podcast, Smiley's Breezy Vapes, located at 313 Falcon Road in Altus. You can visit them online at smileysbreezyvapes.com. From Bill Jack Products with Kim Gaebelein, we'll talk about learning the real age for that pet that you have at home. You know, we like to talk about animals, rescuing and all that. And with that in mind, we've got Kim Gaebelein. I hope I didn't just absolutely tear that one up. From Bill Jack and Kim, I tried if I failed.
That was beautiful, Cameron. You nailed it.
and you know, this is something that we're going to talk about today that, most of our animals, we know their age, but we have a couple of ours that we're kind of iffy on. And I wanted to hear about calculating a dog's age. I mean, how can you actually do that, especially for us novices?
Yeah, I think this is a fascinating topic because I think a lot of people, we see our dogs as family. I know that my dog is, and it sounds like your dogs are your family too. And so we're always thinking about how old are they, right? How can I relate to them? How can I get to know them? What do they need at what ages? So I think that we're all kind of fascinated with trying to figure out, how old they are and what we can do about that. So, and I think, if I asked you generally how many years is a dog year, what would you tell me in human years?
7, I think, is what they say. 7, but I know that's not an exact.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that kind of is a long time, kind of old, kind of wives' tale thing that I think that they used to say generally because dogs used to live about 10 years on average, and humans live about 70 years on average, and so hopefully that's getting higher on both sides. So they kind of said, okay, well, a dog year is worth 7 years, and so now I think that they've been doing a lot more studies, and really trying to understand more about how old is a dog really, and how do they age, and so. It's really interesting that the Smithsonian magazine has done an article on some work that they've been doing about looking at this aging process. And I think what they're finding is really, really interesting. I think we all know puppies grow pretty fast, right?
Yeah, all too fast.
Yeah. Some days it feels like your puppy's going to be a puppy forever because they're chewing everything up and driving you a little crazy. But generally they age pretty quickly, and because they're growing from that puppy to almost full grown. Usually somewhere between 10 months. Usually by 10 months if they're a smaller breed, they're going to be an adult. By 1 year if they're kind of a medium breed, but it could take maybe 18 months if you have a large breed dog like you have a Great Dane.
Yeah.
And so that would maybe take 18 to 24 months kind of to get to that really big giant size. But that's a pretty fast growth. And so what they found is that dogs actually age very similar to, babies. Babies grow up, go kind of from very small to, finally when they're kind of one or two, they grow pretty quickly in that range, right? So that they're kind of aging pretty quickly. But then what happens with dogs instead is that they actually kind of go a little bit faster for a little longer, and then they're suddenly adult, right? So maybe around their 2 or 3 year birthday, and then their aging slows down. So that's what's a little bit different about them, right? We're kind of going a year at a time, and we're not necessarily advancing very much faster. But dogs actually are fast when they're puppies, then they slow down and kind of mature, and then it gets a little bit faster when they get a little bit older. So, to put it in a little bit of context, so for example, if you have a 2-year-old dog, that would be equal to about 42 years in human age. So that would be 2 is equal to 42. But if you have a 5-year-old dog, that's equal to a dog that's maybe around 56 years old. So that wasn't a really big jump from 2 to 5.
Right.
So again, you're seeing that kind of slow down in that middle of their kind of age group, and so it's really interesting to be able to figure this out. They were looking at age markers in humans, and comparing them to age markers in Labrador retrievers. So this is just one particular kind of breed that they looked at. And they actually came up with a really complex formula that you can actually see online at the Smithsonian's website about calculating your dog's age, where you can actually put in your dog's age and get an estimate of, more close than just saying that they're 7 years at a time, old for their age.
And how much different is the aging as they get older, different wise between the larger and smaller breeds?
Yeah, it's definitely different. I think that, obviously bigger breeds, we talk a lot about them living shorter lives, so normally they're going to, age a little more quickly. So, just even though they're puppies for a little bit longer, right, until they're fully grown, they may only live to be maybe 7 to 10 years old, where a lot of smaller breeds or medium breeds might live into their teens and might even live into their late teens if they're a small breed. So we've certainly heard about dogs living to be 16 or 18 years old. So it really can, they really do age faster when they're a larger breed. So a lot of times we're talking about senior dogs, maybe around 5 or 6 years old if you have maybe a Great Dane, maybe 7 years old if you have a medium breed dog like a Beagle. But then if you have a small breed dog, it might be a little more like 9 years old.
And along those lines, also, we know this is a challenge at our house is feeding animals, especially if you have a range of ages. I mean, how important and challenging is it to make sure that they're all getting the right nutrients?
It definitely can be a challenge when you have a house full, for our family. And so, you really want to look for a food. It depends on how you want to feed them. Certainly there can also be a little bit of competitiveness in eating. I don't know if you have that with your brood, if your pack does that, but sometimes one of the dogs might want to eat everyone's food.
Oh yeah, we have one.
And then no one else gets food. Yeah. So there's always one in the crowd, right? So in that case, you may want to feed them separately, right? So if you're feeding them in separate rooms, then you can obviously choose formulas that are very age appropriate for them. There's also, some formulas, our Select Adult formula, it's called Select Adult, but our Select Adult formula and our Sensitive Solution formula at BillJack, those are good for all life stages. So we make sure that it has all the nutrients that a puppy would need in it and an adult, and as your dog gets older. So that sometimes can make feeding time a little bit easier if you have multiple dogs at different age levels and you want to make sure that everybody's getting the food that they need and the nutrients they need every day.
Yeah, and see, our problem is that we've got puppies, but then we also have a large breed puppy and a small breed puppy. So differentiating the foods is just one of the challenges in our household.
Yeah, well, and certainly, as a puppy, large breed dogs in particular can have issues growing too fast. I know that sounds kind of strange, right? Because they do grow quickly, but you don't want them to grow more quickly than they should, than they were projected to do. So it's real important to be able to measure your dog's food. I mean, obviously, I always tell folks it's really important to measure your dog's food no matter if you have one dog. You don't want to put just any amount of food in the bowl and let them eat it all day. You want to be measuring to make sure that you're feeding it according to their weight. And then those feeding guidelines are, need to be adjusted up or down based on your dog's activity level. But when you have a puppy, like your Great Dane puppy, you want to make sure that you're definitely measuring their food because you don't want them to get too much food and grow too quickly because that's not good for their joints.
And whenever you change foods for a dog, you want to do something dietarily for them, if you have a problem with them eating right away, or you don't want to panic, but are there any tips along those lines?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple different things that you can do. Certainly there are, some formulas that are available for if dogs are a little pickier than others, So I know that at BillJack we have a Picky No More formula, and people laugh, but, we do get a lot of people who have dogs that maybe, are a little picky. Maybe the kibbles are too hard for them. This kibble's a little softer. It could just be the taste. I know that with our Picky No More, we have liver. It's with liver, with chicken liver, and dogs really love chicken liver, so that kind of enhances the taste a little bit more. But then, if you've got a formula, you're going to want to try to feed it. Depending on the formula that you're feeding, you might need to mix it in to be able to make that transition. Some brands have you do that. We always say at Bil-Jac, with us, it's usually fairly easy to transition to Bil-Jac without a whole lot of transition. So dogs usually take to us pretty well, but you want to make sure you don't overfeed them when you give them a new food, so that they're not eating too much and then getting sick on it. But I think it's also really important, you can also mix some things in. There's, a lot of options for, wet food or different kinds of things to be able to add a little bit more taste to the food if they're not liking their food. But I'm always feeling like, hey, if they're not eating it like that, then maybe you should look for another food because maybe that's just not the right food for them.
And of course, I want to make sure we did talk about the calculating of your dog's age. If folks want to find out more information about that, Kim, first off.
Yeah, first off, I'd say go out to Smithsonian's magazine or to Google and Google Smithsonian and dog calculator, and you should be able to pull that article up really pretty quickly to be able to throw your dog's age in there. There's a great little box in there. You just throw it in there, and they'll be able to help you give you an estimate of what your dog's age really is, and not that 7-year age calculation.
And also, we talked about some of the different products that are available for folks with differing ages, different diets as well. More information they can find out about the products you guys have to offer.
Yeah, I always recommend come out to our website at biljac.com. It's BIL-JAC. We have a lot of information about nutrition and how to think about your dog's nutrition. We also have a great way to be able to plug in, answer a few quick questions about your dog, and we can help make recommendations about what to think about nutritionally. And then we also have a great blog out there too under Pet Parents. That you can go out there and learn lots of fun and interesting things like what we're talking about here today about calculating your dog's age, but also about our dog's colorblind and all kinds of other fun things about your dog, just so you know them a little bit better.
All right. Well, Kim, it has been great to visit with you. Appreciate the info. And, if nobody else learned anything, I at least learned something today.
Well, thank you very much for having me on.
And hope you have a great weekend, and hopefully we can catch up again real soon.
That'd be great. Thank you so much, Cameron. I really appreciate it, and hopefully all your quarantining goes safely.
Again, for more information, visit bil-jac.com. Again, thank you for our sponsor for this episode at Smiley's Breezy Vapes, 313 Falcon Road here in Altus. For the novice all the way to the legendary vapors, give them a call. They've got all the know-how, plus they've got the latest products and the largest line of disposables and flavors in Southwest Oklahoma. Stop in and see them at 313 Falcon Road in Altus. Online, SmileysBreezyVapes.com, also on Facebook, or call or text at 580-471-VAPE. That's 580-471-8723. Up next, we have TV host and author, Judge Jeanine Pirro. First off, Judge, thank you so much for your time.
Well, I'm delighted to be with you.
And tell us a little bit about the book and obviously the timeliness. We're on the short stick as we come close to Election Day.
Well, look, I mean, the book is the third in a trilogy of books that I've written, Liars, Leakers, Liberals, about the Russia collusion, delusion, and then Radicals, Resistance, and Revenge, how the radicals are resisting everything out of revenge for not dragging Hillary across the finish line. And now it's just as simple as don't lie to me and stop trying to steal our freedom. What the left is engaged in today is a curtailment of our constitutional rights. If you say something that they deem as politically incorrect, you lose your job. You are canceled by that culture movement. If people are triggered by your presence, you can be fired because they're not comfortable at work with you. And we've seen during the pandemic the discrimination against churches and places of worship and synagogues, where Gavin Newsom and in New York, Cuomo are being sued because they're putting unduly restrictions on people and their right to practice their religion. And, now we've got Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, and they're saying, we're going to take your guns from you. And Kamala Harris says, there's nothing in the Constitution that prevents me from taking your gun. So we've got a lot at stake. And in just the last 24, 48 hours, we see big tech companies making a decision to literally cancel out newspaper stories if they believe those stories hurt their candidate. And this is enough. I've had just about enough of what they're doing on the left, canceling people, saying that we're not entitled to certain rights, defunding police, which is crazy. I mean, how do you defund police? You tell people to stay in their homes and you don't want them to have a gun, and then you want to defund the police. I mean, how stupid is that? But this is a fascist movement where if you don't believe what they believe, you're going to lose all your freedoms. And they're proud of it. They're not worried about it at all.
And Judge, for you kind of touch a lot of the bases that are strong points, if you will, for the left side, if you will. But for you to be on the right side, tell us how the eyes have been kind of covered over. Folks aren't seeing the whole truth there either.
Well, yeah, they're not seeing the whole truth because, Twitter is shadow banning. Twitter is canceling stories. I mean, look, last night at the debate, not even a debate, and I still don't know why they couldn't have had a debate. I mean, Donald Trump was there speaking to, being grilled, I should say, at a town hall by Savannah Guthrie. And, why couldn't they have debated each other? Because the Presidential Debate Commission wanted to save Joe from the hard questions that Stephanopoulos should have asked him, which is, what's the deal with your son? What's the deal with China? What about this executive from Burisma thanking your son for connecting the two of you? And did you have a meeting with the head of with one of these Burisma executives? Why aren't they being asked this? I mean, Hunter Biden went through Europe with a vacuum cleaner. I mean, he sucked up millions from Ukraine, $3.5 million from the wife of the mayor of Moscow, $1.5 billion from communist China. I mean, we've got to find out, what is this, a crime family? I mean, you've got Joe Biden's brother building houses in Saudi Arabia with government contracts. What are these people about? We know Joe Biden's not worried about us, and he can't answer a question. Well, is he going to pack the court? Well, you don't deserve to know. And then now he says last night, well, I'll let you know before the election. We'll see how it goes. We'll answer the question. It's crazy. 20 million people have already voted. Were they not entitled to an answer, Joe? But Joe was nothing more than a Trojan horse for the left. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, Kamala Harris will end up running everything because she talks about the Harris administration and Joe talks about the Harris administration. And sometimes you need to believe people when they tell you who they are.
And for you, the COVID-19 obviously has impacted everybody's life in some way or some fashion or another. Obviously, it has raised tensions. And how much do you think those tensions are being played upon by the sides?
Well, I mean, everybody, I think people are all dug in right now. And the truth is that I'm not, and I said this months ago, I'm not sure the country should have been shut down. Fauci was working on a model, and I talk about this, and don't lie to me and stop trying to steal our freedom. Fauci was relying on a model by a guy named Neil Ferguson from the UK, who was an alarmist, who had everybody in the UK killing their cows and their sheep over the mad cow disease. And then, it turned out he was wrong. And it was like, never mind. And we're following this guy. We're listening to him. And so if anything, the president has shown how at 74 years of age, you can have COVID and 4 days later be out on the road. I mean, I'm not saying that it isn't dangerous. 200,000 Americans, more than that, have died. But the vast majority have other issues, comorbidity issues. And even the CDC, says that only 6% die of it directly. And that's 6% too many. But we've got to let people go back to work. We've got to let people get out there and fulfill the American dream. They're entitled to this. These little dictators around the country can't lock us down anymore. I mean, this is outrageous, but that's what the left wants to do. They want to control what you say, what you think, whether you go to work, and now whether you can even read a newspaper. And right now, Twitter and Facebook, they have got to be regulated. They just crossed the Rubicon.
And Judge, you know, the book says, "Don't lie to me." My question is, over the last 4 years, what's the greatest truth that's out there?
Well, I think the greatest truth that's out there is the truth is that Donald Trump is a president who is doing this because, you know, he wants to improve America, and he's already proven that. I mean, we had a roaring economy. We had, you know, the lowest unemployment we've had in I don't know, half a century or even more. African Americans, minorities were working. You know, 5 years ago, think about it. We were worried about the ISIS caliphate and they're coming over here and chopping our heads off. He got rid of it. It's the American dream that Donald Trump is promoting. And it's about time Americans understood that he's not pocketing anything, that the rest of the Democrats and establishment don't accept him because he's in it for all the right reasons and they're in it for themselves.
And again, that book, you referred to it, "Don't Lie to Me," and "Stop Trying to Steal Our Freedom." Judge Jeanine Pirro, I want to make sure and let our listeners know where to find more information about the book and everything else you've got going social media-wise as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You can get Amazon. I mean, it'll be delivered the next day, or any bookstore. And you can go to JudgeJeanine.store. You can get cups and things like that. Judge Jeanine, JEANINE .store. But you know, my show's on Fox 9:00 Eastern time Saturday nights and repeats on midnight, and then after that. Facebook, Twitter. It's Judge_Jeanine. And, you can find me on social media. I mean, I'm just working day and night trying to make sure that this election is something where Americans can vote and where their vote counts. And that's the only thing we've got going for us as Americans, because if the left had their way, they would shut the country down and we wouldn't be able to even read the news. And that's frightening for all of us.
That is right. And Judge Jeanine Pirro, it has been great to visit with you. I look forward to spending some more time with the book and hope you have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you. And by the way, there are a lot of footnotes in there. If you get in an argument with someone, the footnotes are the evidence. So you can get everything you need. Thanks so much for having me on.
Great to visit with you.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Again, the sponsor for today's podcast is Smiley's Breezy Vapes at 313 Falcon Road. If you ever have any questions, Shelly and the gang know all of the information. If they don't, they can get the information to you. If they have a special flavor that you'd like them to special order for you, give them a call, 580-471-VAPE. That's 580-471-8273. They've got the largest selection of disposables and flavors in Southwest Oklahoma, plus batteries, mods, you name it, they've got it for you at Smiley's Breezy Vapes. Our final guest on this episode is creator and host of the upcoming series To the Rescue, Tommy Habeeb. Another very special guest. You know him from the TV series Cheaters. Also got a brand new series I'm excited to talk about. Everybody knows I'm an animal lover anyway. So To the Rescue, we've got Tommy Habeeb on the line with us. And first off, Tommy, thanks so much for taking the time.
Are you kidding me? I mean, I've got the best job in the world, and I want to scream it from the rooftops.
Now tell our listeners about To the Rescue and how close and personal this work is for you.
Well, this is very, very personal. I'm a big dog lover and advocate, and we've got our own dog rescue foundation. And the time just came. I've been part of the world for 20 years. The SPCA asked me to come in and work with them, and I hosted their telethon with Betty White. And, so I've been part of the world, but now I was able to do it on television and shed some light on these amazing people around the world that actually get their hands dirty every day rescuing dogs that are in peril. And so I'm really so proud to feature these people and the wonderful work they do. And just to be a little part of that is so wonderful. But on the show, we find dogs typically that are most of these dogs don't have long to live. They're in big trouble. We pull them out of the bad situation they're in. We get them their veterinary care they need. We get them a foster, and we get them dog training. And you get to live this every moment. And every, we take you'll get dirty with us because it's pretty serious. And then it gets so much better when you see them starting to recover. And then we get them training, and you watch these dogs that were lost at one time, and they're learning how to be socialized, right, around people and other dogs. And then the best part is we give them an extreme puppy makeover, and you get to see this dog being pampered. And then the ultimate, right, they find their forever home.
Yeah.
And we match them up with that perfect family or that perfect individual that needed them in their life. And so there's nothing better than to look in a dog's eyes when he is in his forever home and with his family. And then you really learn, and you see how this dog has transformed. And, I was right there in Oklahoma because we rescued this dog down in San Antonio that just was on his last leg. And literally, this dog was going to be put down that night. And his name's Hondo. And we gave him this complete transformation. He was in big, big trouble. And right now, I was up there in Oklahoma, did a little recap on Hondo. And that's on our first episode. And I have to tell you, I was in tears because this dog has the most wonderful life on this ranch in Oklahoma. And he is just having the time of his life. And his owners, they're going, I didn't know what it was like to have a rescue. We've never had a rescue. And they go, well, that's all we're ever going to have, because this dog, they see the appreciation, right? And the importance. And, they've got a little baby, and their baby's starting to grow up, and they're going, we needed some, every boy has to have a dog. And so it's a wonderful story. We have all these wonderful, actually, Florida stories. Oklahoma stories. We have so many really wonderful ones there. Some great rescue people there in Oklahoma.
And Tommy, to be able to shed light, like you said, about the rescue workers as well. It's a little different, I think, today. If you see an animal control vehicle, it just seems like they have a more caring outreach as well to the animal population than we did see, say when we were younger, Tommy.
Yes, I'll tell you, and that's what's so important, that people understand. These people that are working in these facilities, they're not doing it for the money. They care about these dogs. I travel with them. I travel in those trucks. I see these people have, their hearts are just torn up, and they want to help these dogs. They're not just grabbing them. The old, you watch the old cartoon and the dog catcher. It's not that at all. And what I want you to do is get to meet these people and see what they go through. And is they're working so hard to find homes for them, as they're pulling these dogs out of bad situations, because that's what they're doing, or these dogs that are running on the streets, they're taking pictures and sending them back, and they're plastering them on social media. Help find a place for this dog, right? So they're doing so much good. I just want to also do a shout out to Infinity Farms Rescue there in Oklahoma. Brittany over there is doing some amazing things, and what she's done. And we're featuring her and one of her dogs, Petunia. Petunia was just walking across some land, and they found her on the side of the road. Somebody had shot her right in the face. And, for just because they thought, well, maybe this dog's wild and was going to come hurt my livestock or something. But Jesus Christ, I don't understand who's going to shoot a dog. And this dog lived. This dog has 200 BB pellets in his skull, and it's so sweet. And you'll see her on one of our episodes. because it's a really a wonderful story. I think it's episode 7 or something like that.
And
But in episode 1, you're going to meet Hondo, and that starts tomorrow. It airs tomorrow.
And Tommy, where can, if folks want to check out the new series, where can they find out more information, not only to watch, but also everything you got going on socially as well?
Yes. So at totherescue.com, totherescuetv.com is our website, and you can find out where the show's airing and depending on where you are. And then all of our social media. If you want to smile today, go to the rescue at To The Rescue TV on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and it's going to make you feel better about your day. There's some fun stuff, wonderful stories, and it's growing every day. We're a young company. We're just premiering tomorrow, so we're doing our best to load it up. But you can follow me as well. I have probably deeper stories because I've been doing this for a while. And so at Tommy Habeeb on Facebook or Instagram or Facebook, you'll get some of these stories. But follow the show; it's so important. And if you want to be a foster or you want to adopt a dog, or you just want to get a very cool experience, come to our social media or watch our show. I think you'll be happy. And as I tell everybody, this is a show about dogs, and it's not a kid show. It's a family show, because we take you through the entire experience. You're going to cry, you're going to laugh, and you're going to cheer.
Well, again, To The Rescue, Tommy Habeeb, it has been great to visit with you today. I would love to spend some more time with you, talk about this. We're a rescue family as well, and hope you have a great great weekend. And like I said, hopefully we can catch up again real soon.
Please, let's do that. And I'm so proud of you for what you're doing in rescuing these dogs. And you know how they change your life.
They change ours more than we do change theirs. That's for sure, Tommy.
That's for sure. All right, my friend. Thanks so much.
Again, thanks for tuning us in for this 34th episode of Good Questions with Cameron Dole, brought to you by Smiley's Breezy Vapes. If you ever have a comment, question, or anything else you'd like to know, find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at GQwithCam. If you'd like to help out in the funding for the podcast, feel free to click the support tab and follow the instructions. And if you have a special guest idea, email me, Cameron, at kwhw.com. We'll be back with episode number 35 Monday evening.